Okay, I'm back. Sorry, something came up there, so that's like let's pause. So now let me draw this square again to explain the offset. So we have our square, right? And I want to offset this. Like I want to draw another square, maybe inside or outside, by a particular distance or a particular degree of deviation. So I'll click on offset, select all my entities. Then you have this box surrounding your sketch. Then you specify the offset distance. If I want to use 10, I'll click on 10. If I want to use 5, I'll type 5 in this box, press enter. And if I want it to be inside, I'll select reverse. And my offset to be created inside. If I want it to be bidirectional, that means if I want it to be inside and outside, I'll select bidirectional. Then I'll click on close. So the same thing goes for line and circle. If I want to offset this line now, I'll just select the line, click on offset. Can you see? This is bidirectional. If you want to have just one directional, on tick bidirectional. If you want to reverse, like flipped direction, I'll click on this. If you want to make this to have a much wider distance, I can just specify. I will type 10 here, right? Then enter. So the same goes for circle actually. We have our circle like this, right? I want to offset the circle. So I'll just basically select offset. Then if I want to be reverse, I'll click on reverse. I'll specify the offset distance. And here you go. So that's for offset. So okay, now let me trim. If I want to trim, let me show us something. I have this line up to this point. I have a line here up to this point. Okay, I want to trim. How do I trim? Let's say I want to trim this excess here, this extra here. I'll click on trim entities. Now I can left click, hold, and drag. We call it power trim. Left click, hold, and drag. Then I'll move. You see these traces, I'll move it over what I want to trim. Can you see? To remove that part immediately. You can also do this. Select your trim and select what you want to trim out. Just like click on it. Trim, select. It's a trim that way. Can you see? But for this one, it's very slow. Why? I need to keep tapping before I can remove what I want to remove. So can you see? I have been tapping on this since left click. Just keep tapping, tapping, tapping for it to remove. But if I just drag, look at, I'll just drag and hold to sweep it and trim it away. Okay, so that's for sweep. I've explained sweep, convert entities, offset, mirror, linear, move. Now, I want to move this box. Look at, I want to move this box here to a new position. I'll click on move entities. I'll select where I want to start my move from. I want to move from this vertex to a new vertex. Then I'll left click on the new position I want it to move to. Right? So that's how you move. Now, if I want to copy, if I don't want to move, I want to copy, I'll click on this drop-down list. I'll select copy. Entities to copy, I'll select this old entity here. I want to copy from this vertex. I'll select the vertex. My start point, look at, click on start point, then select this or wherever you want to start from. Then I want to copy a new one to this point here. Can you see? To copy. Copy and paste. Copy and paste. If I want to rotate, the same thing goes for rotate as well. Now, look at something. If I want to trim, I'll use trim Abi. Now there's what we call extend, the opposite of trim. I want to extend this line to meet with the next line here. I'll just click on extend. Click on this drop down arrow here, right? And select extend entities. And I'll click on this line that I want to extend. So extend entities, I want to extend this line to meet that line here. So I'll just over my mouse, over my cursor, over this line, then it will extend that line. Can you see? I want to extend this one, so I'll over my mouse over this line to extend this line to meet with the next line. Now you extend. If I want to draw ellipse, I'll select ellipse. I'll select, this is the major axis. Specify the start point. That's the first focal point. Specify the next focal point. Specify my minor axis. Specify my minor axis. So that's how you draw ellipse. You can also dimension it after you're done. Can you see? I can dimension my ellipse. Okay, so that is for sketch tools. Have I explained fillet? No. How do I add fillet? We call it curved radius. I'll click on fillet here. Now select the two edges that I want to add a fillet to or a curved radius to. Then boom, here we go. I can specify the radius of my fillet. Let me see, I want to use 3. Can you see? That's reduced. Then boom. So that's for sketches. Now I'll be erasing everything on this workspace. Okay, if I want to add fillets to my model, my 3D block here, I'll come to features, right? Then I'll click on fillets, and I'll click on the edge. I want to add my fillets to. So I'll select this edge. You can see. You can also change the radius of a fillet. Let's type it here. Select this edge. Select the edge at the back. Then boom. If I want to add chamfer, under fillet, I'll click on the drop down arrow. And I'll select chamfer. Then I'll select the edge I want to add my chamfer to as well. Can you see? Can specify the distance of the chamfer, and that's it. If I want to create patterns, I want to create patterns of this circle, like linear patterns. This hole, I want to create another pattern of this hole on this face. How do I go about it? So I'll come to linear pattern. The direction, my first direction of my pattern, I'll select this line. That's the first direction. Features to pattern. I want to pattern which feature. I'll come and click on this box here. I'll select the feature I want to pattern, and I'll select my edge. That's the direction. I want my pattern to be in this direction. Now I'll type how many circles I want. Let me say I want 3. I'll type 3. What's the spacing? Which spacing do I want? I want, let's say 15 millimeters. So I'll be having this. If I want 17, I'll be having this. Now I can have three of this same circle with this pattern. Now, if I want to have another pattern coming down in this direction, I'll select direction 2, click on this box, and I'll click on this direction. Now I can select how many patterns I want to create in that direction. Let me say I want to create 2 patterns. So what spacing do I want? Let me see, I want spacing of 14, or let me say I want spacing of 17. Then I want the opposite direction. I'll click on this. Then, okay. So you can see I've created multiple of that same pattern. So you can use the same method to pattern any feature that you want to create a pattern of. I'll explain circular pattern as we continue. Now, I want to show us how to create equations. So, how to work with equations? How do I create, how do I assign dimensions to parametric equations? Yes, there's what we call rollback in SolidWorks. If I want to roll back, this is my browser. I want to roll back my design history. So I can roll back to before I created the L pattern. Can you see? I can also roll back to before I created the chamfer, roll back to before I created the fillet. So I can just roll back to the beginning. If I can use this to study a particular design. Maybe someone sends a design to you and you don't know how to create it. So you can just be going stepwise to see the steps the person took in creating that design. So I just create a new file now. So how do I use parametric equations to design in SolidWorks? So let's say I have a box. This is IPS. Let's say I have a box, and the question gave parametric equations for the dimension of that box. So let's say the question said A equal to 50, B equal to 70. Then they gave the dimension, then they gave the question. How do I go about it? Come to features, see equations. I'll click on equations to add global variables for my parametric equations. So my first global variable will be A. Then I'll press enter on the keyboard. Then if A is 50 millimeters, I'll type 50 A. Now press enter. My unit is in millimeters, so I can just select this, or I'll just press enter. Now, another global variable, if they gave me another variable there, like B equals to 70, I'll type in B, I'll press enter, I'll press 70, and I'll press enter. Then, okay. Now, if I want to dimension, I'm going to dimension with my global variables. So I'll dimension this side. Let's say this side was dimension B. So in my dimension box, I'll press equal to. At the front of global variable, you see your A and B. You see your global variables that you have set. So I'll select B, I'll press enter. So if you see this symbol global, that means um your global variable have been set correctly. And you must see this sigma for summation, this symbol for summation at the front of it of the dimension. I want to specify this dimension to global variable A. I'll dimension this. When I get to the box, I'll press equal to global variable. I'll select A and I'll press enter. So when you see this E, that means you have correctly set your global variable. And now my sketch is fully dimensioned. So that's how you use global variables. And if I have something like A plus B, let me say for one of the dimensions, they put A plus B, or they say C equals to A plus B. Look at, they can say C equals to A plus B. What do I do here? I'll type C here. I want to specify what my global variable C should read. If I want to say C equals to A plus B, I would specify my first global variable, A. Now press plus. Now select another global variable, which is B. Now I can say C now is equal to A plus B. Now if I specify my dimension to C, it's going to automatically give me A plus B. So now let's do that. I want to dimension this to C, right? So I'll press equal to, and I'll select global variable C. Can you see? My C now is equal to A plus B, as you can see here. If I want to do C is equals to A minus B, you can also do that as well. Let's say the question say, or the question can say, let D equal to A minus B or B minus A. So I'll type D in my global variable. Then under the equation, they said D is equals to, okay, let the question say D is equals to C minus A. So D is equal to C minus global variable A. Then press enter. Then, okay. As you can see, D is equal to C minus A array. So if I come and specify my dimension here as D, according to the global variable for the parametric equation that they give, press equal to D, press minus other global variable, just press D. It will compute C minus A automatically. Can you see? That's computed C minus A for us as our global variable for D. So this is how you work with global variables. Now, how do I set materials to my models? If you use a wrong material, your mass property is going to be wrong. And for CSWA exam, you have to be very, very careful with your mass. Your mass must not be too far away from the actual answer that they require from you. So if you use a wrong material, it's going to be wrong. So how do I set a material to my model. I'll come to material. Can you see it is not specified, right? And I'll right click, edit material. So if the material says select ANSI 1020, which is the most common material they use in CSWA equations, and AISI 1020, I'll select it, then I'll click on apply. And can you see it has been applied already? So just click on close now. You see the color would even change to the color of the material that we choose. Can you see the color has changed? So that's how to specify materials to your model. You can also change the material that you want to use. If I want to add sensors, so like to measure my weight, like to measure the mass, and to measure some other things. So I can add sensor to my design. Yes, I can add sensor in SolidWorks. So I want to add sensor for my mass, right? I want to add sensor for my volume or surface area or center of mass. This one is for assemblies. If I want to add sensors for my mass to measure my mass for me, I'll just select mass. Sensor type, mass properties. Then boom. I have my sensor for my mass. Now, my sensor have been added to this design and to help me measure my mass for me. So I'll just click on the drop down arrow here. Can you see my mass has been measured automatically, even without going to measure to check my mass property and the likes. My sensor is going to read my mass for me as I am designing. Look at 3483.9, right? Let me perform a extrusion. This is 3483, right? Okay. Let me cut out a part. We're going to see how it will work now. Now, okay, if I add this, it will increase from the former value of 3483, right? It increased from the former value after you update. Now, let me update. Can you see 3744.6 that increased because I added more mass to the initial block. If you don't update it, it will take a long time before it actually updates, before your sensor will actually read the new value. So just click on update and to read the new mass. Now let me create an hole here. Now from 37, we're going to see what will happen now. Our mass is going to deteriorate. I want to extrude and cut. So can you see? If I cut that part out now, if I cut that part, our mass is going to reduce from 37. Right click and update. Can you see? 2443.42. The mass has changed. If I was using a wrong material, my mass will not be 2443.42. It will be different. Look at, let me use alloy steel. From 2443.42, when it is alloy steel, what is it? It is no longer 2443.42. It is now 2381. So can you see that material selection matters? And it's very, very vital here. So you can add your sensors to measure your mass for you. And the manual way to check for your mass. How do I check my mass? Come to evaluate. Come to what? Come to mass properties. Then I can read out my mass. This is my mass here. Can you see? My mass is 2381.57. This is my mass, 2381.57. It will read out your density as well. This is your density. Your density is 0.01 gram per cubic meter. And your center mass, your center of mass about the ordinates here is this. This is the center of mass. So what we usually calculate using centroid and the likes for center of mass and blah, blah, blah. This software will just calculate it for you automatically about a particular origin point ordinates. So this is your center of mass. So use this when you're doing assemblies. It can also calculate the inertia for you, right? So moment of inertia, moment of inertia, moment of inertia. Okay, let's go. So that's how to check your mass properties. Now, how do I measure distance after I've created my extrusion? I'll click on measure. Under evaluate, I'll click on measure. I want to measure the distance from this edge to this edge. I'll select this edge and I'll select this edge. Then to measure the distance for me, let me say that again. This edge to this edge. This is the distance in 70. Can you see? This red color here, the red color is what is showing me my distance. And the length of this line itself is showing here 90 millimeters. If I want to measure the diameter of this one, I'll just click on it. Can you see? Diameter 54. Now, if I want to revolve, how do I revolve here? If I want to sweep, how do I sweep? So let me draw a line. I have this line, right? Let me change my units to mmgs. I want to sweep. I want to explain how we can sweep here. So this is my line, right? And how to sweep a particular shape from this end to this end here. How do I go about that? I'll create a plane at this end. The plane is going to be normal to this line. So come to features, click on reference. We have to end this sketch first. So exit sketch. Now I can select my plane. So click on plane and click on this point as your reference point. Now click on this. Now my plane has been created. Okay, my second reference should be this. So if you have this blue box, I can see here, the blue square, that means your plane has been successfully created. So I forgot to set my second reference, which is this. So my first reference is this point. That means my plane will be about this point. Then it's going to be normal to my second reference, which is this line. I forgot to select the line. So my second reference is going to be this line. And can you see perpendicular? My plane is perpendicular to this line. So select. Now let's select this plane and draw our circle. So I'm done with this. Now I want to sweep this circle about this line. How do I go about that? All right, come to features, click on swept boss. So under swept boss, this first box here is to create the sketch profile, which is this. And this is to create the part of my sweep. So I want to sweep this profile, this sketch about this part, and I'll select my part. And here we go. Boom. If I want to create a shell, I want to open this. I'll click on shell. I'll select this. Then what shell thickness do I want to have? I want to have shell thickness of 1 millimeter, right? Can you see? My shell thickness is 1 millimeter. That's the thickness of this. And I've opened this face by clicking on shell and selecting this face, allow to shell from. All right, so we have this now. Can you see? Okay, now let me explain revolution. That's for sweep. You can also sweep about a curved part too. Let me show you how to do that. So instead of having this, I want my parts to be curved. So I'll come to spline, right click and select. This is my spline. I want to create a plane about this endpoint here. So come to features, come to reference, click on plane, select this first reference, second reference, select this to be perpendicular to this curve that I have here from that point. So create your plane, then come to this plane, create a sketch. So if you want to sweep the circle about that part, so come to features, come to sweep, select the profile that you want to sweep. I want to sweep this profile. About which part? About this part. Can you see? Swept, swept. So that's for sweep. Let's go to revolve. Okay, how do I revolve? I revolve by creating a sketch and my center line. So let me specify my center line. I can draw a line, then I'll come back to specify that line to be a center line. By left clicking on that line, then I'll click on for construction. Or I can just come straight to select my center line from here. I'll draw it. I don't know which one is faster, but I feel this one is faster. Now I want to revolve. I want to revolve this circle now, right? About the center line. How do I go about that? I click on revolve. Let me activate my sketch. Okay. So I click on revolve, revolve boss. It has selected it for me automatically. Okay, so what do I want to revolve? This is the profile. About which axis? This is the axis. SolidWorks will detect the only axis that you have on your sketch. Then to create, it will work with that axis to create your revolution for you. So I have this axis, right? And I have my sketch here. I'll just, if I come to this revolution, um, creation section, it will detect that I have just one profile and one axis. Then to just compute that command for me, as you can see. And if I want to revolve by 270 degrees, I don't want 360 degrees. What do I do? I'll type in 270 and I have my 270 revolution. From this face, revolve to this face by 270. Now, I still have some other things I want to show. So if I want to loft, yes, let me explain loft as well. How do I loft? Lofting is I am closing the transition between two sketches. So I have two sketches, whether parallel to each other or not. So let me select my plane. Okay. So I want to sketch on my front plane now. So let's say I have a circle here of 70 millimeters, right? I want to loft the circle with another circle. I'll create another plane. I'll create another plane. Then I'll create my second sketch. So come to reference, plane. So I want to offset from my first reference. I'll come to my browser, click on this arrow. My front plane is my reference. And I want an offset of 40 millimeters away, flipped at the back. So I have my new plane now. This is my new plane. So I'm creating a sketch on my new plane now. Now my sketch is going to be 90 millimeters. You can create loft with more than two sketch, like as many as possible. So let me just quickly do that. So now on my last plane now, I want to draw a sketch of that 5. So I want to create a loft. Like I want to create a model that will assume the edges of these three profiles. How do I go about that? A model that will assume the edges, like a water bottle or something like that of that nature that will assume the edges of these three models. I'll come to features, select lofted boss. Now, these are the profiles I want to select. I'll click on this box. Now select the first profile, second profile. Can you see it's already selecting? Then third profile. So I have something like this. Then I've created my loft successfully. And click on this. So can you see? I created a loft that assumed the edges of those profiles. If I want to make this look like a curve, let's see. Let's try to um let's try something. So let's try to make it look more interesting. Can you see what I just did here? I made this look like a curve, like so I just used the loft model that I created. Then I opened the face by shelling this upper part. I opened this model by shelling the upper part. with a thickness of 1 millimeter. This thickness is 1 millimeter. And now I have my cup, or I don't know what they call it. You can pour wine inside, you can pour your water inside. I have this ready. How do I change color in SolidWorks? I have my design now. How do I change the color in SolidWorks? Just come here to appearance, edit appearance. Then you can select whatever color you want to use. Can you see? I want to use red. I want to use blue. And specify. And now there's even more to this color. I don't want to use red and I don't want to use blue. I want to use interesting colors. I want to use interesting colors. Now I'll select this outer part. I want to add a color to this outer part. I'll click on edit appearance. Then this tab, this this interface will come up. Now I'll click on appearance, which is color. Drop down the list. We have so many materials you can add. If I want to make it look like a wood, I'll select. You can select the one for wood. If you want to make it look like a plastic or a metal or a rubber or a glass. Glass is like make it look transparent. If you want to make it look like a metal, I can select metal, select the arrow. Then I want to make it look like an aluminium, something like this. So you can select one of these aluminum options. Let's say I want polished aluminum. I'll select polished aluminum and to add it to it. Okay, let's do that again. So I selected polished bronze. I edited this to polished bronze. If I wanted to use polished aluminum, I'll just do this. You can double tap on it using your the left click. I want to edit this. So let's say I want to use something even very different. I want to use like a fabric material. So come to fabric, select clothes, then you can use this. Just double tap on it. Like it's looking like a fabric now. Can you see? So now let me come to, you want to make it look like a transparent glass. I'll just double tap on this. Can you see it's looking transparent now? So this is transparent, reflective. I select this. Now it is reflecting like a mirror. So any material you want to use, basically, you can get the material from this section. So I want to make it look like a wood. I'll come to organic. Under wood, I can select any material I want to use. I can just double tap on it. Sherry, double tap, mahogany, like that. Okay, so if I want to edit the color of just a particular face, I want to select the inner surface of this cup now. I want to edit the color. What do I do? I'll click on appearance, right? And I can set the color for just that inner surface to whatever color I choose now. I can do the same thing. If I want to set a material for just that inner surface, I can just select that inner surface, click on appearance, now select the material that I want to use for it. Okay, now let me show us um some patterns and some new features. So I think I'll be deleting this. Okay, Let's go. So create sketch, sketch. So I want to use which plane it is. Okay, I'll select the front plane and I'll draw my center line. Click for construction. Okay, so I have a sketch that goes like this. Okay, let me specify the dimensions from here to here. I want to make this fixed so that when I dimension this, it's not moved to the other side. So I've made it fixed. I hope you also that when I first change the dimension, it's moved to this side, but I don't want it to go there. I want it to come here. That's the essence for your fixed on your constraints or relations. Yeah, I want to explain revolution, chords, and some patterns and some new features that I've not spoken about so far with this example. And mirroring. Okay, I want to mirror this about this plane. So I'll select all that. Mirror entities. Mirror about this. So I have mirrored that, right? So I'll be revolving this now about this axis that I have here. So I'll end my sketch, exit. I'm sure it's my sketch here. Okay. So select your sketch to activate. Come to features, click on revolve. So I'll select my profile, sorry, axis of revolution. So my axis of revolution is this, right? So what do I want to revolve? I'll select this, about this axis. So why is it not creating? Because I have my team features selected. That stuff can be so annoying, honestly. Team features, it can be so frustrating. So if your team features, look at if your team features is selected, team feature is a different feature that you want like for a different application. So you have different settings if you want to use team features. So in this case, if my team feature is on, it will give me an error. It's not created how to create. So I'll unselect it. Then I don't want to move. No. Still. polished steel. Okay, so I have this now. I want to create a plane just to go through it. And I'm going to draw 3 circles. So I'm drawing one circle at this point here, 10 millimeters or 12 millimeters. So one circle at this very center point here, 12 millimeters. And that one, I'll trace this last one from here. And I'll create my center axis, my center line. So I want to revolve this and I want to cut. I want to revolve it and cut. Okay, before I go about this, I think I should add my rib. Let me not do the shades. So I want to add a rib to this, like, for what of I pressed Ctrl Z too much. Okay, I want to add a rib here, right? So how do I go about creating my rib at this point here? So I'll create a sketch on this face. Let me end here. So create a sketch here. So I can just do this. Okay, if I want to create a rib here, I would come to my ribbon of commands for features. This is rib. Click on rib. I'll select this line. Okay, so what direction do I want my rib to have? I want it to face down. Can you see it? It's going to face down now. Let's look at. Can you see? Now the thickness of my rib, do I want it to be in one direction or symmetric? I want it to be symmetrical. And I can edit the thickness. Let's say I want 5 millimeters or I want 3 millimeters. So I'll select 3 millimeters. I'll select symmetric, this direction, then I create my rib. Now my rib will be created and it's going to close every gap that is beneath it, that is just under it like this. Yeah, that's for the rib creation. So I can also add a fillet here. Okay, now I want to mirror this to the bottom. Yeah. How do I do that? I'll click on mirror. Now select the features I want to mirror. I want to mirror the features to mirror. I want to mirror this. Or I can just come to my browser and select my rib and my fillet. I want to mirror these two features about which plane. So I can select my top plane and to create a mirror at the bottom. So I don't want the other mirror. I can edit that. So what I need to do is just to select like we did earlier. Then set the mirror plane. I want to mirror about the top. Then there we go. So it is giving me an error because I selected fillet, right? So I have to unselect fillet for my for my selections. So you can see it's going to create now when I unselect fillet. Now I can now come back and mirror the fillet separately. So features to mirror. What do I want to mirror? I want to mirror this fillet. About which plane? About this plane. So I'm not able to create the fillet because the distance and the number of instances is wrong according to the pattern. Right. So I have to do this fillet mirroring. I have to do this manually. Okay, so let's add our fillets. So I want to create a circular pattern of these features I just created now. How do I go about that? So come to linear pattern, drop down the arrow, select circular pattern. Then the features I want to create a circular pattern of is my rib, my mirror. So you select the rib and you select the mirror to create the circular pattern. So if you want to pattern like this and you're selecting extra features like fillet and chamfers, you might get an error. So you can choose to just chamfer this first. So I'll select my direction of my circular pattern, which is this. How many do I want? I want 8 instances of this pattern to be created. Then you can see that's created that already. Okay, so let's add our fillet. Okay, here we go. So now let's revolve at cut. So I'm selecting the front plane. So like we did earlier, drawing a circle of 12 millimeters. Yeah, at the very center here, 12, and just under this. Now I'll be drawing my center line. So I have my center line here for construction. So now I can revolve and cut this. All right, let's go. So I'll come to revolve cut. I'll come to revolve cut, and we have this, and I can cut. Let me specify the colors for this before I even proceed. Okay, for the whole body, the color, let me just add the color. I think this should actually be better. Yeah, at least for this part. Chromium plate. And I want to specify the color for my revolution faces. My revolve. So for my revolution faces, I want to specify the color. Wait, so let's see what yellow looks like. All right. So for the faces where my revolution code passed through, I specified the colors for that face, which is what we have here. So we can add fillets at this edge, features, fillets. So I'm adding fillet at some edges. So I think I should use like one at this point. Okay, so I added my fillet already. Let's see. Let's see. I add one day as well. Um, I think this last is what this is the idea. So I think this justifies the use of revolve. So now we can revolve balls, we can revolve chords now. We can extrude balls, we can extrude chords. We can loft, we can sweep, we can perform our patterns, circular patterns. We can use circular patterns and linear patterns. Let me see. I want to add color to the fillet edges. Okay, let's see what the red looks like for the fillet edges. And yeah, we're done with this. So this is the basics. I want this to know. I just looking weird already, but yeah, we get the points. All right. Have a nice day.